Hey everyone, thanks for coming out. I see a lot of familiar faces, but if you don't know me, my name is Pat Hasberg. I am, my wife and I own DNS here. 3.5 years it's been now, so yeah, it's cruising right along. I want to thank you all for coming out on a very cold night. And we have a great speaker tonight I'm very interested in. Bobby Kendall is going to be talking about ice camping, as I'm sure you all know. It's definitely becoming more of a thing as we kind of have these new pop-up shelters with the insulated walls, can keep things very warm out on the ice. I have a insulated shack, and I gave it kind of a dry run once, and it didn't go super great for me. So I'm very interested to get some tips from a pro. Bobby's been doing this for, he said, 8 or 9 years now, which is way longer than it's been cool. And he really does know his stuff. Just in chatting with him a little bit, I'm like, oh wow, that's such a great idea. So I'm sure we're all going to learn a lot tonight. Just a few announcements, and I guess because you'll all probably ask if you haven't already. Brief ice report. Cherokee has 4 inches or so right now as of this evening. Probably be 5 tomorrow. It's going to be very cold again tonight. We'll probably at least get an inch, I would think, down there. Monona Bay is also froze over. I heard 2 to 4 inches down there this evening. Probably be 3 to 5 tomorrow, and that'll be rocking and rolling, I'm sure, for the weekend. So, Cherokee, they've been doing well, getting all the good numbers of gills, a few crappies mixed in. You got to sort through quite a few fish, but and I haven't heard much off Monona Bay. I haven't talked to guys that have actually fished it, but have checked the ice and have been getting around. So, yeah, we're right. This is perfect timing. We're going to be, I think we're in for a good ice here. Find some wood to knock on here so we don't jinx it. But I mentioned it several times, but if you haven't got your name on a little blue ticket, we do a raffle at the end. So make sure you get your name on there or you'll miss out. I don't sell a lot of the stuff that Bobby's going to be talking about in the way of like big shacks or diesel heaters and stuff like that. I do sell tip-ups, of course. But I couldn't think of good or giveaways, so we're just doing some gift cards to the shop for prizes. If you want to pick anything up, everything in the shop is 10% off, except for Kevin's rods and Vexilars. But everything else 10% off, so stock up, get ready. We have most bait, but there's actually a waxworm shortage going on right now, so if you need waxworms, I'm hoping to get some tomorrow, but we're out right now, and we've been out, everybody's out, I guess. So. What else? I am recording this for social media. None of you will likely be in any of the shots, other than we will be going outside. They have 3 shacks set up, sort of a small version, and then a larger portable version, a small portable version, larger portable, and then Chris brought his ice castle along. And if you're not familiar with ice castles, super awesome. So. We'll be doing those at the end, right? Yeah, but we'll listen to Bobby talk and friends, and yeah, I think take it from there. I feel like there was the rod raffle. So Kevin is, I'm sure, going to hound you to pick up a raffle ticket. We're giving away one of Kevin's long panfish rods. Super popular. If you've ever fished with a long rod for panfish through the ice, they're awesome. So. We're giving away a rod and a nice box of Uncle Kurt's tungsten flies. He's donated 28 of those, and at $3.50 a pop, that's a pretty nice. And the case it comes in, that's a $30 case. Plus, you got a $120 rod, so that's a hell of a prize package. All the money raised for that is going to a group called Josie's Gift, which is a group that does events for kids with cancer, going through cancer treatments. So. It's a great cause. Tickets are $5. Why not, right? So pick one of those up before you leave. I think that's it. Yeah. So without further ado, let's welcome Bobby Kendall. And thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Pat. Hello, everybody. I've never done a seminar, so here we go. Bear with me. I'm probably going to be reading off this a lot just because it's going to be a lot easier for me. I got my cousin Chris and my buddy Mitch. They've both been with me for most of the time I've been doing this. So they know, so when we're done and we do questions and answers, they're going to be just as knowledgeable. They have full setups just like I do. So we'll all three be helping. And like he said, like Pat said, we have all the stuff out there. You're more than welcome to go in and look at it and ask questions. I do have a diesel heater in my setup, which is awesome. They're really good for dry heat. And I don't like the propane anymore, but there's a propane in the smaller one, and you got to step into the ice castle. It's awesome, as he said. I'm Bobby Kendall. Thank you guys for coming out. Hopefully I don't stutter through too much through this. I've been fishing on the Madison Lakes since June 21st, 1976. Caught 4 bluegills. My grandpa recorded it, so that's how I know that. And then ice fishing shortly after that. So I've been on these lakes my whole life, and I just love it. I'm addicted to it, and I spend way too damn much money doing it. But so let's see, what else do we got here? That's it. I'm gonna get started. No, this is gonna be all pretty much safety in the beginning here. Who all's ice fished before? Everybody, right? Mostly everybody. Okay. I'm not going to teach you how to fish. I'm not going to teach you how to fish, and you already probably know how to fish. And equipment, I'm not going to mention any one brand or the other. There's just so much information out there about what you can get, otter and anything. You know, you'll figure that all out. I just have safety tips and tricks and equipment list, like basic needs, like what you absolutely need. More than likely, if you're going to go do this, you're going to do the research and get what you want anyway. So I'm not going to talk brand specific stuff. Anyway, know the ice conditions is one of the really important things. I'm going to have 2 things: know your ice conditions, and then at the end I'm going to have another important safety tip, and I'm going to tell a story about how important they really are at the end of the safety stuff. But know your ice conditions. Know weather that is predicted the day you're going to be going camping for obvious and a lot of reasons. Snow and so on and so forth. Call local bait shops. Local bait shops like this one, like Pat's report. It's unreal. Most people are going to tell you, they're going to want to know and want you to be back in there and give you all the information about how thick that ice is and where some of the thin spots are. They want you to be back in there buying, not out there dying, right? So call, and I'm going to back up a little bit. A lot of this is going to be based around Escanaba, not like what I'm talking about. A lot of my stories and the ice camping I've done, little baity knock. So big giant walleyes. That's what we're going for up there. But I've ice camped on Mendota, Monona, Kegonsa, Wabisa, Green Lake, and Escanaba. So a lot of this has to do with big trips, planning big trips. For me, eight nights in a tent, so it's a lot, it's a lot, but and so a lot of this has to do with like the planning and the tips and tricks and the equipment list. It has to do with making dang sure that you plan this properly. Yeah, ice. Call local shops. Check Facebook and social media. Just go on social media, Facebook, and find a Facebook page for that exact lake. There's like 3 or 4 of them for Little Baity Knock. You can go on there and you can just ask questions on there. There's a lot of D-bags on there, and they'll be just like that. But there's a lot of really nice people, and they'll tell you exact information, and a lot of times there's rivers that have real thin ice because of currents. So, and you can find all that stuff out from Facebook pages and current conditions, and ask locals at the bait shop or at the dock. So, set up before dark. Plan your trip to set up before dark. I did it one time. I got there, got to the bait shop just before they closed, got on my wheeler, and it wasn't a good idea. I shouldn't have done it. It was like 8 to 10 inches of ice, and I had a 4-wheeler with a trailer and all this stuff on here. And it was every 50 yards I was stopping and drilling a hole, and I was fine, but crosswinds, and it was dark. I went 1.5 miles, or what is it, 2 miles out, something like that. Yeah, and it just wasn't smart. It wasn't a good idea. I got everything done, and it was a good trip for me. But I learned my lesson at that point. Just don't do it. Plan to leave early. Get there. It's a 4-hour drive. Make sure you have plenty of time. And if there's a time change, it's Michigan, so it's lose an hour. So you get up there and it's like you lost an hour and it's dark now. So have that in mind when you do it. It's easier. It's a lot safer. You need your eyes when you're going out and you're traveling a mile out. You need to be able to see dark spots, especially in early ice and late ice. As what I'm talking about is going to be more about early ice and late ice. I'm not talking about 24 inches that you can drive a quarter-ton truck on, because we do that too. Middle of the season. It's more about early and late ice. A lot of this safety stuff. Fish with somebody. Try not to fish alone if you have a chance. Tell somebody where you're going to be, what lake you're going to be at, even the spot, the dock where you're going to park your car. Let somebody know that. A wife, a husband, a father, whatever, a kid. Just let somebody know where you're going to be, because you never know what could happen. Let's see. Even if you have GPS, I'll get to a GPS thing later, but you can even send a coordinates to them. So when you're planning these big trips and these really low temp overnights, a lot can happen. So it's good to have other people know exactly where you are. Carbon monoxide detectors. Redundancy is going to be repeated. I'll be redundant about that. It'll be repeated a lot, but two carbon monoxide detectors. Whether you have a diesel heater or a little buddy, it's always good to have the carbon monoxide tester and check them out. Make sure you make sure they work. Venting your hub, especially if you have a little buddy. Hate little buddy heaters. I get headaches. I just can't stand them. They're all wet and whatever. So I went to a diesel heater, and it's amazing. Bring backup heater. I already said that. Or I didn't say it, but bring a backup heater. Redundancy will be repeated in this, I'm sure, more than that. Make sure you have enough fuel and batteries for your vehicle, heater, cooking, generator. I always overpack. It can't hurt. I bring an extra 2.5 gallons of gas for my generator. I always overpack, but there's been times where I ran out. I ran out of gas. I'm like, I'm glad I brought the extra. So anyway, that's important. Some of this stuff isn't exactly safety, but some is. Making sure you don't run out of fuel for your heater. Like that's an easy one. Put a light on your hub. I have a light on that hub out there. Makes it easier to ID. A lot of you guys already know these things, so forgive me if you already know, but some of this is directed at the novice, the guy that might not know that. Put a light on your hub. You go out to a tip up and it's really, really black out and really dark. It's just a lot easier, because you're generally, a lot of times your shack doesn't have, your hub doesn't have any lights on in it. You usually shut them off because you're saving the battery. I run a generator, so a lot of times I keep the light on, but putting a light on makes it a lot easier to just know exactly where you are. I walked right by my hub, I don't know how many times. I just lost. Oh, there it is. It's just a black shadow. So I put a light on it now. Snowstorms, right? There's going to be another couple things I'll mention about snowstorms in here too. But it gets really bad. If you guys have ever been in a whiteout, somewhere like up in Escanaba, where it's just miles till you get to the shoreline, you don't want to be where you can only see 20 feet in front of you. Somewhere in here, I'm just going to say it now, somewhere in here again is apps. Everybody has a phone here. Most people hunt here, I would assume. Most people have or know how to get an app that has a hunting app that you can pin locations on. Pin your hub. As soon as you get there, immediately pin your hub. And I even pin my tip-ups, because I've been in a whiteout. You go, you walk 20 feet and you can't see. You go to your tip-up and like, oh, this is awesome. You pull the fish out and you're all good. And you turn around and you look and you're like, all right, I go back. You can't see 20 feet. and your tracks are gone. Within 10 minutes, the wind will blow your tracks over and your tracks are gone. Now what? You know? And I've been in that situation where I had to like just hope that it was this way. So, yeah. So, and the light can help with that, but only when you're close. Snowmobiles. A light on your hub is extremely important because snowmobiles get in excess of 80 miles an hour. What you guys know how fast they go. Last year, I don't know much about this story. One went through a hub. I don't know if it killed somebody. I don't know if it hurt them, but it went through it. They get flying up there, and it's really hard to see those hubs, especially if you're moving that fast. Even four-wheelers, cars, there's cars up there too. So a light is really important. So pin your location. So let's see. Bring appropriate clothing and gear to the tip up when you get a fish. I don't want to go out there and pull a big pike out or a big 10-pound walleye out and not have my pliers. You know, it's 10 degrees or 10 below zero, and you just pull the walleye out. You got just a fraction of a minute of time before those eyes freeze up, right? So you're going to mess the fish up if you're going to try to put it back. You're going to kill it, or you're going to hurt it if you're not ready and prepared. So just be prepared. And then also standing there, you guys, most of you all held a big fish. Your hands are in the gills, your hands on the butt, and it's cold. And then you're like, cool, get it back in there. Then the adrenaline goes away, and your hands just go, oh, they hurt, they hurt. Try everything you can to get your hands warm again. It's like, just bring a towel, wipe your hands off, put them back in gloves, or wear nitrile gloves. That helps too. Gloves, yeah, okay, and then drink and or party in place. That's the other part of the story I'm going to tell you. I say never, obviously never drive a vehicle when you're out there when you're drunk or intoxicated in any way. It's real easy. It's a lot of fun. It's a great place to party and have fun. We all know that. But it's also, you can run into hubs. You know, you can run into tip-ups. I'm probably not going to run into a person. But there's a lot of things that can happen. And that's the other side of my story. Know your ice conditions and don't drive drunk. The story is as follows. A couple years ago, Chris and I, and Mitch was there too, we have a buddy up there and he rents shacks. He was camping on the shore. We got there and he's like, I'll take you out. We had 10 inches of ice. And up there, it's an ever-changing thing with the ice conditions. It will go up and down. So he took us out. He knew the route. We had a guy wave, hey, we pull over, what's up? Don't go there. That dark ice is not good ice. Cool. My guy already knew that. So we were already going to go around. We go get parked and planted, and we're fishing, and we're doing all this. And Randy got back, and everything was good. And Chris had a headache. Mitch was in his shack. I get out, talk to my girlfriend, and I'm talking to her, and I'm looking. When we got there, these guys were partying half a mile away or so. And there was 15 of them or so. And they were having a blast. And it was cool. It was like, yeah, that seems like fun. I don't drink, so I was like, I wish I could do that. But so they were partying heavy. Dark came. I'm talking to my girlfriend, and I look and I see lights. I'm like, oh, there's some lights, and they're taking off. And they're going, and I'm like, they're not going in the right direction. And I'm telling my girlfriend this. I'm like, this isn't good. They're going in the wrong direction. What are they doing? And then the light stopped, and then another light stopped, and then one went back to the original spot, and then all kinds of shit. And then 2 fan boats within 10 minutes. 2 fan boats came in, and then more lights than I could count. So I called my buddy, and I said, what's going on? A lot of them, they were all drunk. One of the guys went in, 44-year-old from down south. He didn't come out alive. Another guy went in to try to save him. He was okay. They got him out, but he died. He didn't know the ice, and he was drunk. So, I mean, it's a sad story, but like I witnessed it. It was like, it was horrible. So just know the ice, you know, and I know it's hard to know that when you get on your four-wheeler and you take back off and you go to the shore. They really should have known that. They should have known that because they came in at some point during the day and there was a lot of dark areas in that area. So it's too bad that he lost his life. It was a bummer, and it happens locally. We had another guy over near Fish Camp. Was it Fish Camp? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fish Camp. After that tournament a couple years ago, he got lost in a whiteout on his four-wheeler. Another really, really good reason to have that GPS. I took my grandson across. He actually won the youth tournament on that nice big 29-inch hike. That was awesome. I had him go back with his dad because it was dark and it was whiteout conditions at that point. So he drove back to where we were fishing. I took the wheeler and I just sat there with actually it's like that, and I just watched my GPS because I couldn't see. So, and I'm glad I did because at the railroad tracks it was open water, and the guy went in and he passed away too. And that was what, 3 years ago?
Sleeping 100 yards away.
Yeah. Again, same thing, lights and just the emergency stuff. It was horrible. It was just it's bad. And that wasn't him not knowing the conditions. That was just, it was just a thing. He just got lost and he couldn't see. So, but again, having that GPS is really important for a lot of reasons, So, but that actually concludes my safety stuff. I got tips and tricks next. And again, this safety stuff, this is not conclusive. There's so many more things, but apply all the stuff you guys already know about ice safety to this. I mean, it's the same thing. I just tried to add in some stuff that you might not see normally, that you would see when when the temps drop and when it gets dark out. It's really it gets really cold up there. I mean, out anywhere, whether you're on a lake way up north where you're 2 hours away from seeing another person, or whether you're on Monona and you can walk to the gas station in 10 minutes, this stuff applies to that. Some of it might, be more important to know and be more prepared if you're 2 hours away from getting to people. But anyway, a lot of the safety stuff, So this isn't all the safety stuff I can think of. I know I'm going to probably remember some stuff later that would have been important, but for now, that's what I got. So, tips and tricks. A lot of these are for novice. So a lot of you guys probably know this. A lot of you guys would probably be able to teach me a lot. I'm always learning. I never have a problem learning. So, this again is kind of directed for the novice and novice ice camper. Again, I'm not teaching you how to fish, but so anyway, here we go. Make a list to prevent from forgetting really important things. You don't want to go like Escanaba from my door to where I go onto the ice is 4 hours exactly. I don't want to get up there and forget something. So a list is really important for me. That's a long ways. And then or go to the bait shop and spend $300 because I just forgot it. Do a dry run at home, a full setup. Like go in your backyard, put your hub up, get all your equipment, get your generator, get your heater going, let it run for a while, do all your food, make a meal out there, whatever you got. I mean, some stuff you don't have to do, but just do a dry run with all your equipment. It's the best and quickest way to make sure everything works, right? Super simple. Then we got make your first trip close to home, maybe shallow water, close to your car. Go down to Monona and just go in 4 feet of water, set everything up and fish. Gives you good reason to fish. You can test everything in the field as it's going to be when you set to go way up north and drive 5 hours and spend 4 days out there. You get an absolute wet run on this. It'll all make sense. You'll get it you'll get it in order and you'll know if it works. It's a lot easier to make adjustments at home, or local than going way up there and messing it all up. Check on snow conditions before leaving. Depending depending on means of transport, the snow might be too deep to get to your site on the ice. Adjust weight of your equipment accordingly. And what I mean by that is, I went through, this much snow, 18 something inches in my four-wheeler and got stuck like 6 times, and it just sucked. I got a trailer behind me, which is lower than my four-wheeler. I didn't check snow conditions. It was just miserable getting out a mile or whatever. So had I known, that would have been a lot better. I would have adjusted something. I might not have even went because it was absolutely miserable. And up there, the same guy that took us out and we rent from, he used to plow. He'd drive a truck right out there and plow roads. But this was early before he had plowed the roads. So normally you have just roads. You're just driving on a plowed road up there. But he hadn't been out yet because it was early. And then I would assume not too many people are going to be pulling a really heavy sled with all this camping gear to your fishing spot, unless it's local and it's close, then maybe. But man, you guys have pulled a heavy sled through deep snow, not fun. So anyway, knowing the snow conditions is really important. Oh, then let me see, tip-up maintenance. Now, a lot of people don't use tip-ups. A lot of people use auto setters and jaw jackers and stuff like that. This doesn't apply to that. It can apply to it. Some of this stuff can apply to it because you have to cut a hole, and a lot of this stuff deals with the hole. But I'm mainly focusing on tip-ups because that's what I see 90% of the people out there using. It's Beaver Dam tip-ups. Some other brands too, but anyway. And I'm a fan of Beaver Dam. If you can't tell, I actually won the contest. I'm the one that did this. This is my original. Shameless plug. That's the one I took a photo of and I won the contest with. Yeah, shameless plug. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to do that. So tip-up maintenance. Recut your holes every morning. This has to do with really cold overnight temperatures. I don't know if you guys have camped yet or not, but there's something different about the overnight hours. It just freezes the holes up fast. Harley knows. Chris and Mitch know. Anybody else that's been out there, it's fast. So, and you'll lose tip-ups, you'll lose fish, and I'll try to explain some tips to help you not do that. Yeah, a lot of times we'll cut holes depending on what the temps are. We'll cut holes in the morning, wake up in the morning, go recut our holes, redo everything, and then again at night. So it has that overnight temp has a brand new hole that it can eat up a little bit. So by the time 6:30 bite comes, you're not locked in. Let me see. So this is where I'll get into this diagram right here. What I have is, I'm just going to say this is 18 inches of ice. Okay, here's your water level. Here's your spool midway down. It's set. It hasn't tripped yet. And the temps hit overnight. And this is how it looks. You put a hole cover on it. You guys know what a hole cover is. Boom. So it looks just like that. It's set on the ice. You got nothing helping it from insulation except that, which has a hole in the center. And it looks right down into the water. You have a current. And the current's pulling your bait this way. And your line sits right here on this little corner. So all of a sudden you get super cold temperatures. And that happens. And sometimes that happens. You didn't do anything, and it's just like this. That can happen. So now in the morning, whatever, 6 a.m. happens, and then that happens. This will still travel through this frozen ice, but you have to reach 20 inches or more to grab this to get the fish to get it through the hole. It sucks. But that's not before you lift this tip up and realize you're frozen in and you got an inch an inch and less. The hole has drawn in too, so you have less here, and basically you're dealing with a bad situation because you go to pick it up and you're locked, and that tee is just burning, and I'm in the land of big walleyes up there. I know I've had some big walleyes on when that's happened, and we're talking 10 to 12 pounders. You know, I want a trophy class 14 pounder when I go up there, and I've been up there when they've been caught. So I learned real quick, tip-up maintenance is extremely important for me. I've had this happen. It just absolutely sucks. I've had to take this out, cut the line, and then chip away at this, go down below the hole, bring this up, pull all my gear off there, which is usually only a hook and whatnot, and then retie it. Take it into the shack and do it in the warmth. Or put put one that I already have set up as a backup, put it back in. So anyway, enough of that. This can and will happen. I've seen them freeze in completely. I got a couple free ones. You know, you chip away. I'm like, oh, just fix it. Put a new shaft on it. I've done that. Then the whole thing freezes in, and yeah, donezo. So what we do, Chris, I think, figured it out or learned it, whatever, and then taught me. Snow. Just pile snow up over the whole thing, right? Just put snow over this whole thing, just like that. Light, fluffy snow, not slush. Don't use slush because then it'll freeze, right? And then you'll have a brick of slush. If you got no snow and you're on clear ice, pop a couple 6-inch holes and get some of the sawdust from the ice dust from the hole, and that will work. It's not as good as light, fluffy snow. The light, fluffy snow is what works best for us. It absolutely insulates it. You got to make sure this is all covered right here. Sometimes it'll fill in, so you got to keep filling it in. Make damn sure that whole thing has a bunch of snow over it, just like that. And this will then just do that. And you'll have just a small sheet of maybe a 1/4 inch, and you can just pop it right up. And then often, I'm going to get to that. Often, this is my tip-up marker, and that's going to be one of the things I talk about next. But I'll have this out here as a marker. I can just grab this and go pop, pop, pop. Put that back in because the hole's frozen, and it receives this really easy. All while that thing's spinning. Now I can set the tip-up down and go. So, yeah, but this snow cap here is really important when you're dealing with the cold. Sometimes you don't have to worry about it. It's not, it's just not cold enough for it to happen, but we almost do it religiously because temps can drop without knowing. So that's really important for me. Reflectors, this is the next part. This, obviously you guys know what this is. 2 feet, it's super easy to make. You can make 4 of these for like 12 to 15 bucks. That's it. Just buy a 8-foot section of PVC, cut it into 24-inch sections, and I just mark these so I can see them during the day because snow. And then make sure you have the reflective tape all the way around it. Snowmobiles, 4-wheelers, cars, or trucks rather, they can see your tip-ups that way. They can't otherwise. I've had snowmobiles just zoom right through our tip-up field, but I haven't got one hit yet. You can hurt somebody with it, not you, but they can get hurt with this if they're on a 4-wheeler and they're flying. I doubt that would happen, but anyway, so it's really important for vehicles out there. But then some of the less important stuff is when you take your light and you spot them, you can spot them really well, really easy, really quick. And if it snows, that's how much snow before you won't be able to see it. So it can snow like 20 inches, right? And you'll still be able to see where your tip-up is. Anybody lost a tip-up before because of snow? It sucks. It's horrible. Yeah, I found one. I found one too. Yep. And then you start adding on some of the machinery that I'm going to explain right here, and you're talking, this could end up being that could be a $150 loss, which sucks. But so if it snows a lot, this will prevent it from losing it too. I think that's it for these, and they fit in a tip-up bag. They're the size of a tip-up, a little bigger, but and they're handy. You can use them for a tool. Chris puts his hook on there, so it's in there, and he'll deal with this stuff quick and set the hook right on there. Now he knows where the hook is, and then he'll deal with this fish and everything else, and then bam. So I even use that as a tool. This one's not very important, but cook your meals during off times. I don't know how many times we have, like, I want to catch a fish, so I'm going to make a sandwich. Duh, right? Walk over and meet your closest neighbors. Introduce yourself. You guys know how much people talk when you get talking and they get comfortable with you. They start telling you tricks and tips, right? They'll tell you where to go, how high to set your bait, and all kinds of stuff. So, and I like going out and talking with people out there. It's a lot of fun. I meet a lot of really cool people. I also helped a couple guys because of another story that I forgot to tell. I'm not to these yet, so when I get to that, I'll tell you that story. But there's a story because I went and talked to some people. I was able to help them with something like that. And that's the next thing I got to say. And this is really important to me, but tip-up markers, right? Or tip-up alarms, right? Never use blinkies. I'm just going to start there. I hate blinkies. Don't use blinkies because we're talking about camping overnight. Get rid of them. Unless you're going to pull your tip-ups. If you're going to jig in the shack, you got 2 tip-ups out, pull them when you go to bed. That's fine. Run a couple rattle wheels or something. That's awesome. But something needs to wake you up, right? A blinkie's not going to do it. How many times have anybody been out till midnight and there's a blinkie that's been on for 3 hours? Mm-hmm. Dude, that's crazy. What the hell's going on? Why? So up in Escanaba, again, the land of the big ones, we see it all the time. Yeah, it's still up. He's not here. What in the hell? We went over and I don't remember why. Were you with me when we went and talked to a guy at a shack? Yeah, we walked over and we were like, there was a blinky going, and I think either the T might have been spinning. I don't know, but anyway, we went up to it and there was a number on it, right? Because we knocked and we're like, hey, you got a blinky? Nobody said anything. So I just called the number. I'm like, hey, sorry to bug you, but you got a blinky right now. I think it's running. Huh? Yeah, what? Huh? You got a tip up in, and it's up, and there's a blinky on it, and you got a fish on it. Oh, yeah, okay, thanks. And he hung up, right? Whatever. Yeah, 4 a.m. he showed up, which was 8 hours later or something like that. I was like, really, dude? But nah, he didn't get the fish. I don't know. I just don't like blinkies. These things are expensive, but if you're camping overnight, you're going to sleep, right? Obviously, you're going to sleep, or don't take a cot and take a bunch of Monster. You really, really should have some sort of tip-up marker telling you when you get a bite. One quick story before I demonstrate these. It was 3 a.m. and I got an alarm. It starts beeping, and it was 40 seconds, and I was out the door. It's like an addiction, right? And there was 2 4-wheelers at my tip-up. And I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? They just did a flyby and scared my minnow. What the hell? So I'm like, I got my light. I'm like shining. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I start walking out there, and I look at the tracks, and they go right by my tip-up, and they stopped. One of them stopped, and the other one kept going. And then I started realizing what was going on. They were DNR, and they tripped my tip-up. So one guy, there was 4 guys, 2-wheelers and a side-by with 2 guys in it. The side-by went over and hid in the dark, and then the other 2 went to the next place down. and this is where my neighbor story comes in. The neighbors, I'd already went and talked to them. We were, talking and hanging out. They waited 15 minutes and they went to the shack and gave them a bunch of tickets because they didn't get up. They were running blinkies. Those tickets got thrown out because that was entrapment. As far as I know, like I don't know the exact legal thing with it, but I do know that they got thrown out. The judge threw it out or whatever. But I did offer if they needed me to go to court or call the court or something. I was a witness to it. I watched them trip them. So I don't think that's right. But I also don't agree with the blinkies. I don't think you should use blinkies when you're sleeping in your shack. You can't see it. You can't. Don't use blinkies. But yeah, that I thought that was foul in my head. But anyway, I think at this point I'm gonna who has anybody used these? This is called a blue tip. This is a blue tip. It's uses Bluetooth to send a message to your phone. Also, this is a transmitter. This boosts it right here. So you can go in a house, and this will still work. This boosts it. This makes it so you'll be able to hear that alarm in the house or in your shack or in your hub. And I prematurely set this off. Shame on me. It's driving Chris crazy right now. He's switching to vultures. There's two different companies, Blue Tips and Vultures. There might be another company or two. I don't know. This is just what I use. So forgive me for fumbling. I got to get my app. There's my app. And I'm a super Star Wars geek here. So that's what I hear when I have a fish on. Or R2-D2, or the Darth Vader theme, or shotguns, or dogs. You can assign different numbers, different colors. This is green. I can assign it to purple, orange. I really like Blue Tips. But this beep can drive you crazy, and you kind of need this because, again, it boosts the signal. It makes it so you can go almost as far as that range is about a mile. I've run this a couple 100 yards or more, and I have no problem with it. Outside, I don't even need the booster, but in a shack, you need the booster. Eventually, this will shut off. There we go. You're welcome, Chris. Anyway, that's a Blue Tip. Goes to my phone. Now, I just bought this today from Pat. I've known about Vultures for a long time. I think they're a local company. I know they're really awesome. And I wanted them for conditions such as the blizzard. They work really well when it's really snowy out. You can hit a button and it will flash. It'll basically put a light on it. So you'll be able to see it even through some pretty thick snow. But anyway, here you go. Mitch, I'm going to hand it over to you.
I've had these since they came out, so they're a little bit different now, and I know now there's actually like a spin feature. I know nothing about that, but basically you put the bag, you have that on.
Yep.
So like if you hit that button again, it should light up. So say you got somebody driving towards your flag, or people are walking out to set up, you can ping your thing so somebody doesn't end up like right on top of you.
I don't think that's on, Mitch.
Yeah.
There's a couple little learning curves with these, but it really doesn't take much to understand them and learn them. Some of these features are really basic, but there's some more advanced features. That one will do Bluetooth to your phone now, much like the Blue Tips. So anyway, keep on going.
So you can just clip the magnet on there, and then when you get a flag,
It doesn't work. Press and hold. Maybe. Oh, I think we shut it off. First day with the new toy. There, it's on now. Yeah, it's green light. There you go.
Sorry about that.
Nope, you're good. They make clips for these, so you can attach them right directly to the tip up, or you can put it over on the side of the tip up, and then it has a little magnetic thing that sits on the side of the receiver there, and it senses that T-bar moving. So it literally will flash as the T-bar is moving. You'll be able to see the progression of that fish. It is pretty cool. I'm gonna set at least 1 or 2 of them up for that. All right, go ahead. So this buzzes and goes off, and now I know I got a tip up on 3. And
This will light up too, so
Yep.
you can see which tip up it is.
Yep, and you can also shut that light off as well.
Turn it off.
So it's programmed to each tip?
Yep.
You can do like 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yep, 6.
You can do 6, or you can do a crazy number to each button. Like I have 6, and I got like a little suitcase, and so I have 1 through 6, and I can check on them too. And that's the other point. The only issue I ever had with these was like if you wear it as a necklace and you're checking tip up, so you've got a fish and it's bouncing around. I knocked the batteries loose one time, so I got back to my shack. Little did I know I had knocked the battery loose, so my remote was dead. I got a flag, and this was still lighting up there. So luckily I saw it out the window, but I was like, oh shit, sorry about that. So I unscrewed that, and then I put a little wad in there to kind of make sure the batteries would never pop out. And that's the only issue I ever had. So.
Which is a pretty minor issue in my book,
But
Go ahead.
That's loud enough to wake you up if you're sleeping.
Yeah, this is definitely, and it vibrates, and
It
all,
lights up too, so.
and it lights, and also you can shut this off so you don't let the other guys that want to scab you and sit right next to you because you're catching fish and they're not. They won't know it's going off. So you can turn the light off if you don't want it on. What was your question?
Is that an app like Blue Tips for your phone?
There is.
Just the receiver?
There's an app now. Yep. And it does Bluetooth, and I kind of can't wait to get into that. So, I mean,
Yeah, because like there's been times where if a lot of other people have the blue tips, that receiver's going off for other people's things, and it's loud, and I'm sitting there with my remote, and I don't have.
I was envious of Mitch. I just spent a bunch of money on it, but no, I'm not envious. This is a brand new one. So this is a version, this is a Max, what are they called? Max something?
Max Pro or something.
Max Pro.
Yeah.
And these are retailing at like 80. So
Yeah, $79.99
Yeah.
for the receivers, and then you can you can buy a combo pack for $129, and that's the receiver with the remote thingy, and then each additional receiver after that is $79.99. That is the new version they just came out with this year. I do have ones from the previous version, and those are $69.99, and they are compatible with the new remote and all that. So
and the old fob works with those too.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. And yeah, they're very popular.
Yeah.
A lot of people love them. Anybody that ice camps uses those, and
And-
nothing against the blue tips, but
Yep.
I don't carry them just because I've had so many people say, "Oh, I got this problem or that problem," and I was 30 yards away and it wasn't going off. And
Yeah, so because of the blue tip, it relies on your phone. I have an iPhone. I never had hardly any problems with it. It was super reliable. But anybody with a Galaxy, no bueno. I was talking to the owner multiple times to try to get some of them set up and working and operating. It was really hard. So we eventually did get some of them working, but you couldn't assign a tone to it, the tone you wanted. But so yes, there were definitely problems with them. I think they got a lot better now. But because I didn't have a problem, I like them. And man, they're easy. They're just super easy. You saw the fiddling around that Mitch did with that. Once you get the carriage on there, you bolt the carriage onto the tip up, the board, then it's a little different. It's pretty easy. It sits on there. I got a case that I made. Put this case together. So I'll just take this to the hole when I tear down. Hello, here's the carriage. You'll bolt that right to the tip up, and then you can just pop it out, pop it back in, and it's got a resting place that it's more stable on this. Yep, this part will fit right in there. Again, it's so new that I didn't get to this yet. So it locks right in. I see I wasn't trusting it. Okay, but, oh yeah, it's in there solid. And then also, you can set it on the side right here. Once I get this figured out, I kind of can't wait. You can put this little guy on the T, and it's a magnet. As it spins, it will tell the receiver, transmitter or receiver? Transmitter, how fast it's going. That's what I meant earlier. It'll light up in sequence with this. So as this spins, you're going to see it on the light, which I'm kind of excited about. So I'm going to get at least, I'll probably get a whole set of them set up so I have that ready to go. This piece will just go, this piece? This piece will go on here. I think they talked about tape. I know, that's like, but they did talk about putting it on there permanently. So, and I think that would just go like that. No, see, that's a magnet. All right, so I got to figure it out. Yeah,
Yep, the new one.
because there's a.
Yep.
Okay, so that is because there's that little clip goes on the T. Yeah, so you're right. It goes upside down. What, the battery life?
Battery life is very good. The new ones, they said, I just read it today. There's two settings. There's like a two-way setting that uses more battery, and there's a one-way setting. If you have it on the one-way setting, they said that it can run for 6 weeks of continuous use on one battery charge. And then if you do the two-way, I think it's like 3 weeks or something. It's ridiculously long. Like continuous use, like being left on for 6 weeks straight before the battery runs out. So it's real good. The Max Pro is basically like the other ones. It just has a few little bells and whistles that they threw on. They moved the power button, increased the battery life.
They added a power button. There never used to be a button on here. You had to take this off to shut it off. Now you
Sure,
can
yeah.
access the power from here,
Yep,
or
yep.
reset it from here too.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. I at first didn't like the battery life on that, but I think a lot more is going on there, so it's using a lot more battery. But like Pat said, they changed that and made it better, and I was already going to get them last year anyway, because there's certain conditions where I want them. I want to be able to hit it and light it up and make sure it's working from the shack. And there's a lot of stuff, I've seen with Mitch's, and Chris has a couple now too. But I'll say this. I like how handy these are, right? Just super handy. Click the button and then walk away. It's like, there it is. Sorry, Chris, did it to you again. And they've, like I said, they've been operating for me pretty much flawlessly since I've had them. So, any other questions regarding any of the tip-up alarms?
So multiple Bluetooths can go to the same receiver or the same phone?
Yeah, so which is, again, part of the problem with these. You're sitting there and you're like little baby knock. We're sitting there, we got 100 people and 100 people, and 50 of them have blue tips. Every time they get a tip up, that guy goes off. Now, I think there's a way to assign it. So this is just yours, but I didn't figure that out. So this goes off and just drives you crazy. So yeah, you end up shutting it off, or so that is one of the huge drawbacks. That's one of the reasons why I went to this. I wanted to go to this for those situations because this is mine and only mine, and now they can all just keep their blue tips. But if I'm alone and I'm doing a real quick day trip or something, I'll probably use these. They're just so handy, and mine works flawlessly. So I don't mind having. I have like 9 of these. So when I take people out, I'll have, I don't know how many tip ups I have, 1,000,005. So I take a lot of people out fishing with me, and I'll load mine all up. So everybody will have blue tips, and a lot of my friends have these too. But anyway, so yeah. So that's that for that. I covered that. What else do we have here? Oh, before you go out, I'm not aware of any any laws restricting anybody from camping, but I think there are some states where you can't camp, you can't fish after 10. There's some lakes that you can't fish after 10. So, you know, if you're planning on a lake that you don't know about, it's maybe a good idea to go on and maybe even ask DNR up in a different state. Go ahead.
Or some places you might be able to fish the lake or the park, or the parking is a lot. It says no parking after 10, you leave the vehicle.
Yep. And you have to access from a different spot. But yeah. And sometimes they're restricted. You can't get on the lake except at one part because it's not a very big lake. So, and that kind of goes to my first point is, know your conditions, know your situation. Just call locals with Facebook pages for that lake. It kind of all ties together with planning. Make sure you plan it properly. So, but yeah, I Minnesota or something. There was a state that you're not supposed to camp or something. I don't know. There was something. So because of I don't have that knowledge, I'm not sure of it. I would want to at least say that as a disclaimer. Just check regulations because most of Wisconsin lakes, I think you can. So, but I'm not absolutely sure. So then that leads me to equipment list. This is not for fishing. This is just for camping. Some fishing related stuff here, but most of it's just for camping. You guys all know how to ice fish. Like I said early on, you're going to have your own choices in what brands you're going to do, and so there's no reason for me to get into exactly what I use and what I do. But I have in bold and I have it starred, and I also have some sheets back there with notes on them. Feel free, please, to grab it. There's a checklist or equipment list, and then these safety tips, and then the tricks are on those sheets too. There's 2 of them. So I have in bold are the must-haves. I mean, this is what you'd have to have for an absolute, scaled-down version. Just want to go out and camp, and you don't want all the bells and whistles. An insulated hub, and that one I have in bold. That's a must. Cotton bedding, must. Hub fan, it's important. You want to spread the heat. That's not a must. Floor mats, it makes a pocket. You're in a pocket. It insulates the ice. When you lay your mats down, don't dig, don't shovel, leave the snow there. Otherwise, you're going to be swimming. The mats will be floating, and your socks, everything is wet. It sucks. Just make sure you put the mats right down on the snow. Same with this too. If sorry to jump back, but this is kind of important. If this is snow right here, if this is snow and this is the ice, don't dig this down. There's reasons, I can't tell you why. Just don't do it. Just cut your hole straight down and have that snow like that. This will be a better insulator on top of snow than right on top of the ice, lower than that snow. I think same with the shack. You want to just put the mats down on top of the snow. Then we got light for inside the hub. Obviously, you need light. You're out there at night, so you got to have a light. A table. It's really nice to have a table. I have a big table because I take a microwave with me and a generator. I'm like, super easy though. Like I used to take a grill. We have multiple forms of cooking out there. I have a George Foreman grill that runs off propane. It's got a griddle and you flip it over to a grill. I love it, but for me it's a lot of work, and I'm just like I kind of get lazy with the food. It's almost like medicine. So I take a bunch of microwave dishes and I cut the cardboard off if I need the instructions. It's super tiny. You can put a whole bunch of them in a tote and then put them in the microwave. Not very healthy, right? But it's really fast and super efficient. Take on the list is a trash bag, so I just take a trash bag and take off what I take on. So, but when you're with a lot,
Disturbs the fish?
generator?
Yeah, the noise, the vibration of it.
No.
No?
Not really at all. I've never noticed it, but I mean, we're fishing in Escanaba. We're fishing in 20 feet of water, so that distributes any of the noise quite a bit. But no, we don't have problems catching fish when we have the Jenny running. They're pretty quiet too. They're actually really quiet. I have a small Win, I think it is, so it's not very loud. But
I was just curious.
yeah. No, that's a good. Yeah, which is quiet as well. So it's a good question though. Generator and fuel, that is not a must. Diesel heater, not a must. I put Little Buddy or some sort of propane heater. That's a must because that's, I mean, you need heat, right? So you have to have one of these has to be, you know, you have to have one of them in bold. So I just put the Little Buddy because I use that as a backup too. I always take a Little Buddy. The diesel heater that I have, I built by myself. I watched a bunch of videos. There's a guy in Australia that is he knows everything about the diesel heater. You know, and I watched every one of his videos and like I did everything he said in terms of pitch of the pump and what line use, what inner diameter line and why, and it's I love my diesel heater. But if it fails on me, I don't have the parts, the tools, you know, to fix it out there, and then you have to take it apart and you got to know exactly what's wrong with it. So there's a lot of stuff involved with that. So I little buddy till the next day and a 20-pounder. And then probably just go home, you know. But I always take one because I'm not an expert with the diesel heater. I always take a Little Buddy, and that's a backup. I hate Little Buddies. I hate propane. I get headaches. I just, you know, it sucks. It makes everything wet in the shack. It sucks. But anyway, that's my backup. I'll always have a Little Buddy with me. Cat litter bucket with cover and supplies as a toilet. Got to have one, right? We're human. Or a 5-gallon pail or something. And then trash bags. Take your stuff with you. Shovel. That's not a must. But it's a really good idea to have a shovel. You want to shovel in the skirt around your hub. It seals it up really nice. Easy to do with a shovel. Sometimes you can, you know, take snow to your tip-ups to do this with a shovel if you don't have a lot of snow around your tip-up. Rope, that's really important. It's always good to have rope. Tie your hub down. The day I went out, I think I mentioned, I went out in 40, God, it had to be 40 mile an hour crosswinds, and it was an absolute blizzard, and I just shouldn't have been doing it. I laid out my hub, got all the spikes in, had my four-wheeler and my trailer blocking the wind, and I just automatically tied down and didn't have enough. So I had get my rope, and I did a bunch of tie downs on the trailer, and I just tied it all down. Then I erected it, turned the heater on, and I was fine. It was like, it was really quick and super efficient. But that extra rope, or if something breaks, you know, I mean, anyway, you know, rope is awesome out there. Tote to keep your outside stuff free. You're all going to have totes because of equipment, but it's nice to have a spot where you can put stuff that you don't want in the shed or in your hub outside, and it'll get covered in snow if you don't have it in a tote. But too much detail on that, but it is important in my opinion. Safety items, float suit. Float suit, you guys probably have all seen these. Very important, and mine match, so they work in tandem. You can use another company, a different top than a bottom, but I just got the matching. And let me see, ice picks. You all know what these are. They're very, very important. Always have a pair. No, I didn't just buy those yesterday. They are very important, but reflective tip-up marker poles. You guys saw this. You know all about why I use these. That's a must. I absolutely think those are a must when you're ice camping. You're out there in the dark. Ice screws and tie downs. That comes with your hub. You'll all have screws to tie it down. Light for outside the hub. I explained that before, the snowmobile thing. Headlamp, I put that as a must. You should have a headlamp. Throw rope. I don't know if you guys know what a throw rope is, but it's a bag with weight in it, and then it's got a rope. You tie it off, and you throw it to somebody that fell in the water, and it deploys, and then you can give them a hand from a safe distance. So carbon monoxide alarm, that's obvious. You got heat. You're going to be heating your shack or your shanty or your hub. You know, make sure you have the carbon monoxide alarm. Meals, microwave, grill, or burner. That I put in bold. Obviously, you got to cook your food. you all know how to camp, you know how to cook, you know what you're going to want when you're going to do this stuff. So pick and choose to your own liking. Skillet, coffee, pour over. I take coffee. I take a Mr. Coffee because I got the Jenny. Like a whole pot of coffee then. I'm like, keep pouring. Fresh pot. Kettle, pot, water, garbage bags. It's really important to have water. Just, take half a case of water with you. It's always really good to have it for washing your hands. Having fresh water, if you cut yourself, put a hole in your finger with a hook. Fishing equipment would be the tip-up alarms, blue tip or vulture. You already all know about that and how I feel. I just think that's a must. Hole covers, have to have them. Boots, spikes. I use the corkers. As of last year, I got these. These are, you can change the soles out on them. I love them. They're just absolutely awesome. We'll see. I beat boots up really bad. We'll see how long they last, but I love them so far. Nitrile gloves that going out to a hole when it's 10 below zero. Put the nitrile gloves on, and they at least keep your hands dry. It gives you a little extra time dealing with a really super cold fish. And that's it. I have, like I said, my two friends here are going to help with any kind of questions that you guys might have. They know all that I have. What you got, Pat?
Well, I was just, for people that may not know, could you talk a little bit more about the heaters and the difference? Like, what is a diesel heater? And everybody, I'm sure, knows what the Mr. Buddies are. But why is the Mr. Buddy not a good idea compared to a diesel heater?
I wish I had a better way to explain it. Scientifically, I don't really know outside of it the condensation that the propane produces. If you guys have ever been in a shack, it's wet. I mean, the windows drip. All that moisture's in there. A diesel heater's dry. I mean, it's literally sending dry heat in with no exhaust. The combustion exhaust goes outside. It draws air from outside to go through the heat. It'd be a little too hard for me to explain the exact workings of a diesel heater, but basically it's you put the diesel in. There's a timing pump that basically sends. It makes clicks, but it sends up an exact dose of diesel that goes into a burner. It lights it with a glow plug. And then as it lights it with a glow plug, that flame, it turns into a torch, lights up a case, like an aluminum, I think it's aluminum. And then that heat there's a fan on it, and then that heat that aluminum case is producing goes out of the fan. Super scaled down version of it. Go ahead.
Is the diesel heaters, are they like adjustable for how much heat you're running in the ship stove or whatever?
Yeah. There's a control panel, 3 or 4 or 5 different kinds of control panel, as easy as.
Digital type thing?
Yep. So mine has a digital. You'll be able to see it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So some of them have just a button and a dial, and then some have lesser controls. That one tells you codes for problems. So.
The condensation thing is a big deal. We camp a lot up in
Yep.
UP and
Yep.
places where there's 20 below. And you wake up in the morning, that stuff's dripping, literally.
Well, it's
dripping on-
frozen in the morning.
It's frozen.
As it warms up,
And that's dripping on your
I hate
spots,
that.
tables.
Yep.
It is, I mean, it's good heat, but it's wet heat.
Well, I'm super sensitive to exhaust now. I think I had a couple crappy trucks that leaked too much exhaust into the cab, and now I'm sensitive to it. So like I can't stand the exhaust from a propane heater either. Like I just get headaches too. So like it's almost a medical reason too that I wanted to just get rid of them. So
You don't have problems with your diesel with the real cold?
no, in fact, what I built. I watched those videos, like 19 videos, and the guy is super comprehensive, and so I had a really good understanding of how to build it, and then I went around and just designed it. Got the case, figured out what case I wanted, which is actually pretty cool. It's got a little clip-on dolly. It's rigid from Home Depot, I think, is where I got it. But it's got a dolly. You can literally take the wheels off, and then it's just a little box. Handles on the side, handle in the center. Everything's in there, including the fuel tank. And just the ambient heat from the device isn't enough to hurt anything inside, overheat inside, nothing, but it keeps the diesel from gelling in really, really cold temps. So that's just what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have my tank outside because it can gel. There's differences with different diesel that won't gel as easy, or there's some de-gelling or gelling agents that you can get too, but you can mix it with kerosene too.
Burns kerosene in.
But you got to mix it with that, because if you don't mix it with, if you have just run straight kerosene, that pump is basically a metal piston on a metal receiver. So it's metal on metal, and the only way it gets lubrication is the diesel. So if you're running just kerosene, yeah, it'll burn it up pretty quick. Yeah.
So when you were researching diesel heat, I looked at some of them, there's a whole bunch of them, you know, fairly cheap even, buy them, but I never knew which, not knowing them that well, is there a better one, or if you're to commercially buy them?
They're getting better, and I think they're getting better and better. But I went with Viver, I can't remember. Yeah, what's that? It's close to that. I don't know. Pretend it's that. I don't know. But reviews. I got mine from Amazon, and I just looked through a bunch of reviews and watched videos on what other people did. I just fast-tracked myself.
What about the power source?
Oh no! Don't tell my girlfriend. I spent $800 on a battery on a lithium ion. 100, and then I have a solar panel that I haven't hooked up. No, I'll get out of that battery, because of the amps that it draws. I think I get 30 something, because the Dakota Lithium, you can run it down 100. You can use like 100% of it, or it's 80% of it or something. So it's a lot of time. And I think it runs, startup is like 3 amps, but then once it's done startup, it does 1 point something amps. So it's like, 40 hours. No, I charge it with the generator. Yeah, I cheat. But I do have I have the solar panel, but like a lot of times when you're up, the sun isn't out very long, and it's not at peak hours for charging your battery very long up there, or in the winter in general. But it would work, it would keep the level up a little bit high. I also have, and the battery thing for the diesel heaters is really, really important, because you can run out of gas, and that's fine. It'll do its shutdown cycle. You don't want to let the power go. If you pull the power on that thing, there's a control unit, a brain box above that little heat sink, melts it, gone. It's done. Like that heater's not going to work unless which is easy, $20-30. You can buy a new head, a new brain, take it apart, pull it off, unplug it, put a new one on. But I don't have one, so it will melt it really quick, because you kill the power, the fan doesn't blow the hot air out, and that hot air goes right up to that heater or the brain box, which is sitting right on top of the heat distributor. It's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Melts it. So it's really important to monitor and maintain the battery. Make sure you have power to that thing all the time. So when I go to bed, I double check. Somewhere on here is an app. In my battery box, in my Dakota Lithium, I have a device, and it's running right now. It tells me my battery power. So like from here, I'm going to read this soon as 80%. So it's at 80% right now. That's the battery that's running that diesel heater. So I can check it from the hole, from the car, from anywhere. I can do a drive-by if I'm with a friend and we're going by my camp. All right, 75, I'm good, 75%. It starts getting down there, you want to make sure you get that generator going and get that battery charging. And you can charge the battery while it's working, while it's operating. So the heater never has to get shut off. So you don't want that battery to die. What's that?
So that's the main reason I don't have one, is the battery side of things.
Yeah, it's the Jackeries. They're really expensive. They work really good too. Just do your research on the timeline of the battery, how much actual amperage it's going to draw, you know. So cold cell or acid batteries, like what you get 50% out of them. Yeah, there's not, and they're heavy, and so AGM batteries are extremely heavy, and you don't get what you get out of lithium. So you almost always want to run a lithium with them. So.
But the main difference is that a diesel heater lives outside of the shack, correct? Or
You
is
can keep it in.
You can
keep it in, but
okay.
there's combustion exhaust, so
Okay,
you have
yeah.
to filter that out.
Oh, okay.
And then the combustion exhaust, you can only have 90 degree of turn on that because you don't want to cause restriction. So like, and so you got to make sure you have that accurate. It literally can only go like 90 degrees or maybe more than 90, but it can only have one. Then it has to go out. But I just don't want that in my shack. I don't want the potential for the exhaust to be in my shack. Right. Like when I first set it up, the wind was blowing this way, and it was going out of the exhaust, and then it went under the skirt, and it went in. So I put a little board on there to stop it, so that can happen. But which is another reason why it's not a bad idea to have a carbon monoxide tester, even with the diesel heater, just because you never know what can happen. But yeah, the diesel heater. Let me see. The combustion exhaust goes. Is outside. Yeah, I don't know. I keep it outside.
Yeah.
So.
With a full tank, how long will it run?
That's a good question. I was hoping nobody would ask me. The guy that I watched, the videos that I watch, he does math on it. There's like a really easy formula to just calculate like you can know the exact amount of time you're going to have on a tank. But my tank, which is an oversized tank, a little bigger than the one it came with, I ordered separate. I think it'll go 9 hours. Do you remember, Harley?
I don't.
It was like 9 hours, I think. Maybe more. It's somewhere in that ballpark, I believe. So I just fill it up before I go to bed. Make damn sure I fill it up with fuel so it doesn't cut. But again, you can run it out of fuel. It's not going to hurt the thing. The tank. The fuel tank is like that. Just like that thin. Yeah. It's a gallon. Yeah. So, and the machine, the heater's only this big, So, but there's the pump is loud. It clicks. So I bought a silicone cover, and then I have that rigid seals shut. Can't even hear it. Your head could be 2 feet away, and you can't hardly hear it at all, if at all. But that's what's that? Already pre-made? No, they do sell kits that are like pre-made. I think you got to do some installation, and once you get it, like you got to kind of put it together a little bit. I'm not sure to what degree, but they do make the kits. But there's a lot of stuff that isn't good with them because they'll send them with soft tubing for the fuel line. So as it comes out of the tank, it goes into the pump. That can be the same material, the soft material that they send it with. But going from the pump to the machine, it has to have a really rigid interior because as it can draw it easy, but as that pump sends it into the machine, it's a pump, so it's putting pressure on it. So if it's soft, that rubber absorbs that pump, and it won't dose it the right amount. It's got to be like 0.002 of a milliliter. I can't remember. I'm just stepping outside of the bounds for which I know. So, but it has to be an exact dose of fuel that gets into that burner, or you'll start having problems. And that's where people they mess up. It's all on the install. You got to understand exact, like that pump has to be at exact angle because there's air cavitation bubbles. And if you have it like this, the cavitation, it's a cylinder, so the cavitation bubbles will sit up in this little area here, and you'll create a big gap. And then there's all kinds of problems with that. So you put it on its side, so those bubbles will just keep going up to where they need to go. So there's a lot. I realize I know a lot more than I thought I did as I'm explaining it, but it yeah, it's important to completely understand it before you put one together. But they are really cool. I mean, I love it. I think they're awesome. I won't go back. So.
And you've got one, at least one set up out there that's heating.
Yep, it's
so
running.
you can see it out there too. and-
Yep, it's running right now. I think I
Yeah.
got it on 5.
Sure.
So yeah,
Yeah.
might be nice and toasty in that one.
Yeah.
And then I have a little buddy in this in my first setup. The little shack out here is the one that I started with. It's just a Frable Citadel popover. It has a lot of room in it, but I have a cot in there. We got Mitch's cooking set in there with some propane cooking options, and then the little buddy, which has a little heat activated fan on it, so it distributes the air. But like I don't like the propane. So that's like a scaled down version, like a small popover, a pop up that you could get away with. That's what I used when I first started doing it. And then there's the next level up, which is the bigger hub, the Otter, what is it? The Otter Lodge Pro, yeah, Vortex Pro Lodge or something. And that one I got for free because somebody left it in the ice and it sunk in. So I sat there for 4 hours chipping it out with this. Got me a $600 hub. I probably would have bought one. I would have bought one if I didn't get it free. But anyway, I don't know why people go and spend $700-800 and then just walk away from I just don't get it. But you see them up there. You see abandoned hubs all the time. So must be people with a lot of money. And then Chris's shack, that's our mid season. That's what we camp and do all our fishing out of when we have this much ice and we can just drive a truck around. That's what we do. Those are pretty much for early and late season. So, any other questions outside of any questions you might have out there?
Yeah, and I was just going to say what we might do is go look around. It's frigid out.
Oh, yeah.
So, ask a few questions, but we're not going to spend too much time out there. Come back in and we can kind of
Yeah.
talk about stuff. But yeah, we can go out and show them
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
But Noah had a question here.
So when you're saying don't clear the snow when you're setting up your hub and you're putting your floor down,
Mm-hmm.
if you go out there and there's like 20 inches of snow, are you just kind of pressing it down? Or
Yeah, because
clear some of it out of the way?
you still have to get the stakes in, right?
Right.
Yeah, so you got the skirt and I thought about that this morning. I'm like, how the hell am I going to explain it to them? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I think you got to take the level down, compress it down a little bit.
Sure.
Like you say, just got to get those stakes in,
Yep.
They go in this far, but you got to just cram them down. So I think the skirt's just going to drop down where that little collar is.
Yep.
Just get them down. So it's a great question, though.
When you're setting up, taking the mats and kind of putting some down and stopping on them. And
Yep.
walking around and
I'd press them down.
getting
Oh,
it
yeah.
down.
Yep.
So before you start setting everything else up, you got your floor as good as you're gonna have it for a while.
Yep. And there's other things you can do. Water's an issue. Obviously, it gets, if you have a good heater and you seal everything up really well, it gets pretty warm and that snow melts, obviously. So, often we'll have floaters, mats that are floating. You can cut a hole in the ice and go down, not all the way through, and that'll create a little pool for you for some of the water to go into. But, how many times are you going to do that for now you're at the bottom of the ice?
I guess to piggyback off that, do you ever move your shack if it
Good.
gets too wet?
Yep, good question. I have done that. We've done it plenty, yes. So,
One other question, when we were camping up in the UP, there'd be a lot of snow and stuff, and a lot of times we would shovel it off, drill holes and let that water come up from the pressure, and then it would freeze. We'd give it time to freeze,
yep.
and then we'd put our mats down and our shack on that.
So that's what I said earlier. I said, I'm going to be learning from you guys too. So,
Because the first time we did, we got out there, it was 18 below zero up there, and we shoveled it off, we put our mats down, did our stuff, drilled our holes, and the water just started flowing up on the mats. And we're like,
been there.
so then we had to literally pull the shack off there, move it over quick, we're starving, it's getting dark. It's Michigan, we're up in Lake Ogeebic.
Go
And
give it,
the
yeah.
only one's out there, it's 20 below zero, of course. And we set the shack overside, and I said, I'm starving, so I quick made some food in there, and then we let that freeze. And then we put it on there, and we were good.
Yeah. We actually had to slush around the holes, and it froze.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ice was, the water would have just come.
There's so much snow up in there.
It's the weight of the snow.
Yeah.
Yep, it pushes down and the ice has nowhere to go. Yep.
And that's been our biggest problem. We've camped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is the problem with the slush and the water. When you get up and your things are floating in this much water,
Yep.
and you're stepping down and you're like.
Yeah, I don't have
That's been
answers.
our biggest problem with
Yep.
all of this stuff.
I don't have answers for a lot of that stuff because that snow just forces the water
We
up.
thought about building
Yeah.
a platform in there.
Yep.
Down, you know, then we can't use four-wheel up there because it's too deep of snow. We use
Yeah.
snowmobile. But you have to figure out some way to get yourself from being wet.
Well, so a lot of people are putting wood floors in the hubs now. So they're just building, modulus, 6 or 4 by 6 or 8, whatever sheets, even sometimes to fit their shack exactly. And they take them out there and they put them together, and then it just floats. But you still have the water, so the water's still going to be below that wood.
It just won't get up to you as much.
Yeah. So, and it goes beyond your shack too, I think. So, but yeah, I think there's some tricks to it. But we run into that, but only a couple times where we have the water pressure sending water up.
Do you get a lot of snow over in, where you guys
Yeah.
over?
Escanaba, there's times where you're dealing with 2 feet of snow and drifting. That's another thing that I didn't really mention was drifting will bury your tip ups.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, it's gone. You guys know, gone.
We've had our, last year we were up there, we had the thing where you said we had a separate channel and that thing took off with 50, 60 mile wind. And he went across that lake so fast, and it was our bathroom.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Luckily,
Oh.
that stuff got hurt. But the whole channel ripped the cords right off and flung it.
All the
flung it
way
down.
across Lake Winnebago.
that's a big lake too. Oh, we had before I say that, tip up maintenance also involves checking your tip ups for the drifting. You get a bunch of drift on here, it'll lock the flag down. So if you have a lot of wind, don't be afraid to just go out every once in a while and check them.
Got to where we don't have to put them out at night.
Yeah.
We have rattle rails and we don't have to go outside.
Yep.
So right after prime time,
Yep.
we tape pull them in.
Yep. That's
It's just, we create a lot less problem.
Yep. That's an option. That's a good option
Anytime
too.
we can go out there and strain them, we can do
Yep.
all kinds of stuff, you're up there and moving.
Yep. There's also I've seen people put buckets over them, and it works.
Yep.
Especially with these guys, and these blue tips work right through them. You don't have to see it. It stops the drifting. You just uncover the bucket, and you have a brand new set of tools to work with. And then I've done some stuff where I've dug out a certain area away. I don't know. I figured it out during this situation. A certain area away, you create a wall, and then that'll be the driftless area. Right where your tip up is, because some of your tip ups don't have anything covering them.
No fence.
Yeah, a snow fence. So, and you wonder why is that one not covered, but that one is. So then you look and see where it's got, and you try to mimic it. Yeah, but
You're always troubleshooting.
which I'm still trying to grasp the whole pressure water coming up because it's not fun floating in a shack.
Should we go look outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so we'll just, I might have Bobby do a little tour with me with the camera, and then everybody can kind of look around if that's all right.
Yep.
It's great, Bobby.
Woo.
Yeah, she's chilly. So this is the small shack, right? Shack.
Small one.
Got just a standard kind of over 2-man
Yep.
kind of deal.
I don't have any holes cut in here
Yeah.
in the mats, but
Oh.
you get the idea.
Yeah. There you go. It's nice and you can feel the heat coming out of there. Good.
Oh yeah.
Little fan in there.
Sorry. There's a light you guys can look in there, and then where's the? Oh, here it is.
So this is a bigger one. More of a hub style.
Oh, here's one of those ice castles, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? This is the ice castle. Oh, this is what I wanted to see.
There you go. All right. So this is, oh yeah, she's toasty in here. You got your battery down there. Microwave. Deluxe.
Oh yeah, microwave.
George
Foreman grill.
You got the floor.
Yep, I got some holes cut in some of the mats. I got a live scope hole under there
Sure.
for my live scope,
Yeah.
and just any cot would work. I got a comfortable chair because I often spend a lot of time in here.
Turn that
so-
light on. Or you got a light up here, I guess. Yeah, you're good. There you go. Now we'll
He
do
has
the
an
deluxe.
insulated cot.
So this is the ice castle. So it's like a big trailer, but it's not a trailer on the inside.
That's this ice fish right here. This is luxury. More dragon. That's awesome. You got a thing of
You guys mind if I just come in and kind of
Yeah, let's go.
look around? So we got holes in the floor. These. So Chris, these drop down to flush with the.
It'll drop right on the
drop
round.
axle. You just drop right down flat, and then yeah, it's got holes in the floor, carpet,
Here you got the
TV. Yeah, there's your holes. Yeah, it's great. Stuff on the walls.
thermostat right there.
Thermostat, beautiful.
A lot of this
Beds.
is custom made stuff, but
They fold down.
got all these will fold right up and down. And
Perfect. Microwave.
coffee,
Yeah, coffee.
live scope TV.
Yeah, this is living right here. Tell you what. Yeah,
Which
that's
is
great.
actually
Yep. Fold
couch.
You can make it a couch. Yep.
I just
Awesome.
do that for deer hunting.
Perfect. And yeah, you use it for camping otherwise too, not just ice fishing, right? Yeah.
Carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide. Great.
Two of them in here.
Two of them. Great. This is great. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, it's a nice fishing shack.
And I'm just gonna pause this. Start over when everybody comes back in.